So welcome to turning your wheel of life into a circle of excellence. Now, a lot of people tell me that they're trying to achieve a work-life balance. And just by a show of hands, how many of you are looking to achieve a work-life balance, right? Well, for a lot of people, that balance seems impossible. And the reality is it is impossible because you can't balance a 10-sided disc, right? So there has to be a better way than trying to create balance. And that's really why I created this class, is because for myself, I was trying to create balance like most of us, having your own business or a job that depends upon you and how you show up, and yet, do you give up time from your family or do you give up time from your work? And it's always like push, pull, push, pull. But what I'm going to show you tonight is the reason that you can't achieve balance is because that there's more than just work and life. There's multiple aspects to each of those. So first off, I'd like to thank you for being here and sharing what I consider to be your most valuable asset, which is your time, right? So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you investing your time in learning more on how to create this balance in your life. Or I'm going to use a different term for it in a little while because there really is no balance. So what is there then? Well, in order to turn your wheel of life into a circle of excellence, the first thing that you're really going to start with is why, or vision, which is really not a goal. It's a direction that your life is heading in. And that vision kind of like starts above everything else to really give a purpose, a meaning and a purpose to your life. So really what that is made up of is a lot of different areas of your life and the choices that you make and how you create that in your life. So I'm going to introduce you now to what I consider the real aspect of what people are looking for when you're trying to create balance in your life. And that's what I call creating harmony in your life, which really composes three areas or three circles of life that have multiple components to each one, which I'm going to get into, actually about 10 components total. But if you look at it just in general, the three areas of life that are important, and I challenge anyone to tell me that any one of these are not really important, is first of all, your health, right? So, if you don't have health, nothing else is really important. The next is wealth, right? So you have health and now you want to go to work and start creating wealth. And then there's love, right? So really, health and wealth and love are the three areas of your life that if you wanted to really have balance, it's not just work and life. Your health includes your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional and spiritual health. Your wealth includes your career, your business. It includes your finances, your cash flow. It includes your investments and your return on investments and residual income. Your love includes all of your relationship, your friends, your family, your significant other, romantic relationships, business relationships as well. So if you look at how do you balance health and wealth and love, which one is important? Which one are you putting more time into? And it's really, creating a harmony between all of them. So that's really what you're looking to create, is harmony between health and wealth and love. So if you look at the deeper aspect of balance, I like to use the analogy of music. So if you look at music at any given moment, is there balance in the music? No, there's no balance. There's no balance between the guitar and the drums. There's no balance between the keyboard and the bass, right? So, there is no balance in music, but there is harmony, right? So harmony is really what we're looking to help you to achieve in all aspects of your life. of health and wealth and love, as well as the details of what we're going to get into throughout this presentation. So, what right do I have to present to you today? So, I'm Mark Siegel. I have multiple certifications, beginning with Master Practitioner and Trainer of NLP, which is Neuro Linguistic Programming, basically the user manual for the mind. There's also I'm a certified master practitioner and trainer of hypnosis, and certified by the American Board of NLP, the American Board of Hypnotherapy. I'm the founder of the New York Institute of Hypnosis, and I'm a certified school of hypnotherapy as well as a trainer. So, I do work with a lot of people in the area of success within their business as a business coach. So people ask me, am I a business coach? Am I a life coach? Am I a health coach? And really, the way that I define myself is as a success coach. It's really success within all of these areas that we're going to talk about today. So health, wealth, and love. And I've owned multiple businesses since 1982. I've owned multiple businesses. I've done professional speaking. I'm a trainer. I've had international mastermind groups. I've written multiple articles and mini books as well as ebooks. So, the story really begins with you. And the first place to begin with anything is assessing where you're at. So, what I'd like you to do is, really take a look at where are you at, right now, in terms of your life, in terms of health and wealth and love. And, it's the first thing. I mean, if you had a GPS and you were trying to figure out a route to get to a specific destination, the thing is you want to figure out where you're at, okay? And then you want to figure out where you want to be, right? So once you know where you're at and where you want to be, the next step is figuring out, well, what does it take to get there? How do you get there? And it's really about bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So let's start with a quick assessment. And I'm going to share with you a link that you can click on. I'll put it in the chat. If you don't have access to the chat, then just let me know, and we'll see how we can share it otherwise. But I just posted the link in the chat. You should be able to click on that. This should take you about a minute to do. And really what I suggest is, click on the link, go to the chat, and then there's going to be 10 areas, and you're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. And the faster you do this, the more accurate it is. And this is a snapshot of your present moment in time. And really, what you're looking to do is to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these 10 areas. And it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of your satisfaction in each of these areas. So, really, what you want to do is say it's not about how much money you have, but it's how satisfied with the amount of money you have. I know people that have $30,000 in the bank and they're totally happy with that. I know people that have $3 million in the bank and they're not going to be happy until they 10x that. So it's really a matter of the disparity from where you are to where you want to be, and looking at your level of satisfaction within each of these areas. I know people that have no significant relationship in their life right now, but they just got out of a really bad relationship and they're happy to be alone for a little bit. So even though there's no one in their life, zero quantity, they would rate their level of satisfaction at an 8 or maybe even a 9 or 10 because they're happy to be alone right now. So again, go to this link, take a quick survey with this and fill it in, and let me see where you're at with this. Okay, so I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. In the meanwhile,
How does this weird stone...
I don't know why this is not opening. Sorry. Okay, cool.
Gratitude.
So I'm just trying to pull up my other window to see what we have going on with this. Okay, so okay, pretty cool. So a couple of things where things are showing up less than ideal, which is pretty common, is different relationships. But really, the way this equates, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everybody an individualized kind of snapshot of this, but I'll give you a sample of what this snapshot looks like. So these are examples of some people's wheels, and you can see how the various areas, there is no balance, right? But the key thing is to look at, well, how do you get this wheel, in better shape, right? Because if you look at it, the question to ask is, if this was a real wheel, how smooth would the ride be? So for most of these wheels in the example, not very smooth. So, but it's not about having all tens. If you think about a smooth wheel, they could be all ones, or they could be all fives, or all tens, and the wheel is smooth. So really what you're looking to do is to smooth out the wheel. And the way to do that is not by saying, well, let's fill in the gaps of all of the ones that are low, because what that does, it creates a seesaw effect, and you wind up filling in the low ones to try and create balance, and you give up time and energy on the high ones. So I'm going to give you a very, very simple way that I've found working with people to smooth out the wheel. And it's really about working on the whole wheel at one time. I mean, maybe at any given moment, working a little bit more concentrated on one part of it, but doing that without neglecting the rest of it. So, because tell me, which one of these areas of the wheel is not important? Is career not important? Is romance not important? Is health not important? Is fun and recreation not important? No, the reality is they're all important. So what you want to do is you want to work on all of them. And I'm going to go through each one of the areas in a little bit of detail now to show you a way that you can start to focus on your criteria of what you want in each area. So let's start with health, right? So, health is a pretty big area when you start to look at it. What does health mean? It means different things to each of you. And what I'd like you to do is take a moment, and even after this, I'm going to give you some homework to work on where you can say, okay, what's important to you about health, right? So for some people, in terms of your physical health, it could be your diet, it could be your exercise, achieving your ideal weight or your shape or size. For some people, it might be mental health, which might mean doing some things like yoga or meditation or going for therapy to clear up your mental health. It might be emotional health, like a stress relief or some sort of relaxation techniques. So what I want you to do is think about the aspect of health that's important to you. And you can sort of create a journal with each of these 10 areas. Take a page and list out, 10, 15, 20, 25 things that are important to you about health. And then I'm going to give you some homework on how you can narrow that down and really create a way that you can start to achieve those aspects of health in your life. So the next area we're going to look at is friends, right? So friends are important, and there's different aspects of friendship in your life that are important to you. Like I said, it's different for each of you. There's some similarities, but one of the things you might look at in terms of friendship is the time that you spend together. I mean, do you spend too much time with your friends and not enough on other things, or do you not spend enough time with your friends? As we get older, it's a lot easier to get caught up in a lot of other things in life and kind of neglect our friendships. And one of my friends says to me, well, if you haven't spoken to someone in 10 years, then they're not really your friend anymore. And I still consider them friends based upon how I feel about them. But in reality, love equals time. So if you're not spending any time with them, then they might not consider you a friend anymore. And, the other aspect is, what do you do when you're with your friend? Is it about shared activities or shared interests? What makes someone a friend? What makes someone appealing to you as a friend? Is it what you're doing together? Is it the time that you spend together? Is it, about who you're with or who else you're with when you're together? Is it about where you are? So, there's different aspects of that friendship. And, one of the key things about friendship, or what makes someone a good friend, is that level of trust and, what I call forgivability index. One of my friends used to say, it's about how forgivable you are. So when you build up time and investment in a friendship, if you mess up a little bit, then they forgive you, because that's what friends do. Friends forgive and forget, maybe not totally forget, there's a little bit of an accountability to the friendship. But if you've given to the friendship, then when you mess up a little bit or you go to take from the friendship, there's that level of forgivability where they're gonna tolerate. I have a bunch of friends that I invited to this meeting, and they're not all here, but they're good friends. The last time I presented this, I had a little bit of technical difficulty, and they were here. So there's forgivability when someone has that level of trust and that level of loyalty and accountability to you. The next is family, right? And there's different aspects of family. There's time spent together with family at gatherings. There's family that you have obligations to be around, and then there's family that you really love these people and you choose to be around them. They're more than just family, they're friends too, right? So, who do you like to be around in your family? Who do you choose to be with? What's important to you about family? Is it about the gatherings? Is it about time spent together? Is it about having a conversation on a regular basis on the phone? Is it about, the whole family getting together, or getting together one at a time? So, the big thing with family that's different than just a friend is, blood is thicker than, right? So, your significant other, there's a lot of aspects to this that we're not going to get into all of them, but a couple of key aspects are, that you want companionship. Like a basic need is companionship, that you feel comfortable together, that you spend time together. Again, that it's like, if you have someone who's a significant other and you never see them, well, what's that relationship about? Or even just basic companionship. The next level is that you feel a sense of love. And, it's a big thing for some people to even say, I love you, and it creates a romantic relationship. And then, then you take it to the next level where that relationship is so significant. It's more than just friendship and romance, that, there's sex and there's chemistry and there's physical attraction, and you just get excited mentally, physically, emotionally to be around that person, and you want to spend time with them, right? So for a lot of people, the relationships go beyond just the physical, and that brings us to the next area, which is spirituality, right? So when you think about spiritual connections, your relationships with spirituality and yourself, first off, there's your connection to a higher power or God or earth or spirit in general. Like, what is that to you? To me, I call it God, but you might call it something else. And when I studied Kabbalah, we called it the light, so there's, two aspects to spirituality. There's religion and there's ritual, and then there's more of a energetic, emotional connection, and you feel inspired at the very least, right? When people talk about, connecting to spirit, that spirit from within, that passion, that power, that energy that comes from connection to a higher power, right? Or even that higher power could be within you, depending upon what your beliefs are, right? So how do you build that? Something for me that's very, very strongly connected to my spirituality is the area of personal growth, right? So you're doing things to, to better yourself, which could be spirituality. It could be classes you're taking in spirituality. It's, you're learning and you're growing and you're expanding who you are, right? So this, for me, this is a core value, is learning and growing, right? So this is why I get passionate about teaching these classes, is learning and growth. And for me, this is where all of coaching and everything started out for me. Is, I was afraid to speak in front of a group of one, and then I've done things, I've read books, I've gone on to, to seek out the best or better version of myself by taking classes, by taking different courses, by expanding who I am and learning and growing, and just to become a better version of myself is really what this was all about. And now I speak in front of hundreds or thousands, the more the better, right? I've spoken, one of my mentors put me in front of a group of 1,500 people at a time, and no script, no nothing. I just had to start speaking. And because I've done all this personal growth, because I've read the books, I put in the time, I put in the effort and the energy. And at first I sucked, but you get better and better the more you do it. So it's, one of my teachers has an expression, done is better than perfect. So, you can manifest things in your life, and it's really through how you focus on, expanding and learning and growing. And one of my favorite expressions from Stephen Covey is, part of personal growth is take time to sharpen the saw, right? So, one of the ways to do that is through fun and recreation, right? Now, I purposefully say recreation instead of recreation, because when you take time off to sharpen the saw, then you're really recreating who you are. So this could be through a vacation, it could be through, hobbies or interests. It could be through, just doing something where you consider it play, or going to a show or some form of entertainment. But when you take that time off, there's a great story of two groups of men with an old-fashioned saw cutting a tree down by hand, where they're pushing and pulling this saw to cut the tree down. And the first group of men decides that they're going to work nonstop to cut this tree down. The second group of men it just seems like every 10, 15 minutes, they're taking a break. So the first group is cutting and cutting and cutting. And finally, they cut one tree down and they look. And in that time that they cut one tree down, the second group of men was almost done with their second tree, right? So they decided to double their effort and work even harder, and they're sweating and they're pushing and pulling as fast as they can, working nonstop. And finally they get their second tree down and they look over, and the other two guys are, they already have 4 trees down, twice as many, and they've got half of the 5th tree down, and yet again they're taking another break. So they decide, okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to walk over there. And finally, they decided to do something smart and say, okay, what we're doing is not working as well as what they're doing. So let's look at that model of what they're doing. Again, coming back to personal growth, right? You model excellence. So they go over to the second group and they ask them, what are you doing? We see you taking a break, and yet you've cut down 2.5 times as much as us. How are you doing that? And they explain very simply that when they're taking a break, they're sharpening the saw. So every 10 or 15 minutes, they're cutting, but with a freshly sharpened saw. Whereas the first guys have been cutting nonstop, cut down 2 full trees, and haven't stopped to sharpen the saw once. So taking that time to do something fun, to take a vacation, to do some sort of hobby or interest or play or go see a show or entertain yourself, even though it seems like a waste of time, that you're taking time off and you're not being productive, it's probably the most productive thing that you can do for yourself, is to take that time to have fun and recreate yourself. So the next thing is your physical environment. And this could start off, big picture, looking at your location, your physical location. Are you in the country that you want to be in, the state you want to be in, the town you want to be in? Is it the home of your dreams? Is it decorated the way you want it to be? Is it, clean and neat and organized? Is it, the way you want it to be? Does it feel good to be there, right? So, that could be the way you decorate it. It could be neat and clean and organized. What's the energy of your space? What's it saying to you? What is it saying to others? And this space could be your home environment. It could be your office environment. We're affected by the environment that we're in, but there's different levels. You can have more of an effect on your environment. You can overcome the effects of your environment. And these are choices in how you not only act, but how you react to your situation. But you want to stack the odds in your favor and set up your office in the best way that you can. Set up your space, your home in the best way that you can. Have a space. A good friend of mine has a space where he can, meditate. A good friend of mine has a space where she can go and do artwork. Another friend of mine loves music, so they have a room set up in their house just for music, a recording studio even. So really set up your space in a way that makes it ideal for you. It doesn't have to be the most expensive home in town. It just has to be a way that you're desiring it. And maybe some of your goals is to get a new home, to get a new space, to move, to be in a better environment, to live in a different country, whatever that is, to move to a different state, to move to a different part of town. I just moved to a different town on Long Island, and I'm so happy to be here. And even just the energy of this town, the success level of the people in this town, the whole vibe of this town is, I'm not in necessarily the most wealthy part in this town, but overall this town is wealthier than the town I was in. And it kind of inspires me to step it up. You drive past really, really nice houses and you start to create a desire within yourself saying, hey, I want that, or I want something like that, or I want my version of that. Years ago, I was in a band and, we never played at Madison Square Garden, but we played in a club with a couple of hundred people, and with the lights in my eyes and hearing the crowd cheering and seeing the first 2 or 3 or 10 rows of people. Hey, for me, that was as good as Madison Square Garden. I didn't need to play Madison Square Garden. I'm a good drummer, but I know I'm not a great drummer, and I would never aspire to do everything that it took to play at Madison Square Garden. I was just having fun. So this really comes full circle to your your the driver for all this is your career and your business, right? So what about that? First off, whether it be your career or your business, a lot of salespeople out there, a lot of stockbrokers, a lot of financial planners, a lot of realtors out there, even though it might be a career path, it's also like having your own business. You create your own schedule. And what gets you up in the morning, what gets you going is, that you're passionate about what you're doing. I love teaching. I love presenting. I love solving puzzles for people. So when I'm coaching someone or I'm presenting a class and I'm helping them to learn something and to grow and to improve themselves and their business and to create that level of harmony in all aspects of their life, well, I love doing this. It's very rewarding. I'm helping people. I'm earning a living by helping other people improve their life. And to me, what's better than that? So follow your passion. And what you want to look at is, you have talents, you have skills, you have abilities. Stop comparing yourself to other people and start to look at what you have. What can you be grateful for? What talents do you have? What skills, what abilities do you have? What do you love doing? Right? So you can look at, the fulfillment that you get is more than just the income. I mean, of course, there are certain jobs that you do, and I know people that are driven by a level of income. They want to double, triple, 10x their income. And this is to them what's satisfying to them. So really, it comes down to whatever you're doing, you want to generate some sort of profit. And for me, and a lot of people that I've coached, and even my mentors talk about it, is that, this could be one of the most important areas of the wheel, especially as a business owner or someone whose income is dependent upon your effort and your attitude. So, when you're profitable, when your business is earning a profit and you're making the kind of money that you want, then all of the other areas of life kind of create harmony on their own, right? So this is like, yes, all 10 areas are important, but, career and business is very important to the wealth aspect. Your health is obviously important, because if you don't have health, yeah, you could have a very profitable business, but if you're not healthy, then you can't enjoy it. You can't have fun. You can't take the vacation that you want to do, and you're not there. And your business might be dependent upon you. When I coach people, I talk about the difference between owning a business and being self-employed. I'm not going to get into that today, but really, if you don't show up for work and your business isn't still earning a profit, then you're self-employed. That's the simple skinny of it. So if your business can run without you and you go away on vacation and you're still making a profit in your business, then you really own a business. And that's a whole different level. So what it really comes down to, the whole reason for having a business in the first place is, that level of satisfaction, but really about making money, right? You're in business to make money. So you earn an income, whether it's from a business or from a career. You're earning your income by exchanging your value, by exchanging your time. But it's not even just the time. It's really the value of what you're doing in that time that justifies it. I know someone recently, they went to a job and they said, well, I'm not going to take this job unless you give me $27 an hour. And they said, well, we don't know what you can do. If you can do what we need you to do, then you're worth $27, $28, $30 an hour more, But if you can't do what we need you to do, then you're not even worth minimum wage or $15 an hour. So it's really, you're exchanging not just your time, but you're exchanging the value of the service that you offer, and in business as well. You're exchanging the value of the solution that your business offers your client's problem. So, in terms of money, you want to save money, right? You want to invest money. You want to be able to predict the future, right? So the way you do that is by being in charge of how you generate money and how you save money. I just reread the Richest Man in Babylon, and one of the great things in the Richest Man in Babylon is the first principle is to save 10%, pay yourself first, right? So if you're earning, if you make $100, take $10 of that and put it into savings. But that's not savings so you could buy eventually like the newest iPhone or a toy, or even saving up for a car. What you want to do with that 10% is you want to invest that in something that earns an interest, something that's safe and predictable, and it earns you an interest. And then you don't want to spend that interest either. You want to take that and reinvest it as well. So when you have these investments, right, you get to take advantage of compounding interest, which can take place, over time. So the sooner you start saving, imagine there was no compound, no interest, no nothing, but just take a moment. You don't have to give me the number, but just think about if you had taken 10% of every dollar that you've ever earned in your life, and you had just the 10% without any interest, without any investing of that money, but you just took that money and put it directly into a savings account earning no interest, and it was 10% of every paycheck that you've ever gotten since you started earning money. For most people, that would be $1 million or $2 million or $10 million in some cases, depending upon how much money you've made and how old you are. But if you take that money, and time is your greatest ally, and you invest that money, well, then that starts to earn money for you. And as a business owner, or even as someone who's self-employed, even if you're employed by someone else, but you're acting as if you're self-employed, like a salesperson, and your time and your effort and the value of what you're offering is how you generate money, then one of the things you want to look at, and a lot of people ask me, well, what does this mean? Investments, time compounding, I understand, but energy. So there's two ways you can earn money. One is with effort, and one is with energy. So energy is when you set up automated systems. For a lot of people, they have the right website that is set up with e-commerce on it, and they have products and services that people can buy or invest time and money into to learn through automated programs. So the person they put in effort to create that program and to automate it and to set up all kinds of different e-commerce and merchant accounts to take payment on it, but then they set it and forget it. And that is earning them money through the energy. So it takes no effort anymore. It just took the energy to set it up, and now it generates money for them automatically, right? So the real thing to balance is time and money, right? So some people have lots of time, but no money, right? People that are unemployed, right? People that are in between jobs, people that, just they're trying to figure out what to do next. So they quit a job, but they didn't have anything lined up, So what does that give them? It gives them lots of time, but no money. So they don't really get to enjoy it, right? And then there's people that are working their butt off. They're making tons and tons of money. I had this guy who came to me, for coaching, and he was, he started not one, not two, but 3 businesses at the same time. And they were all related. He started a real estate company, he started a mortgage company, and he started a title insurance company, figuring that, he wanted to generate enough money to create a wonderful life for himself and his family. And what happened is the market took off. And as it started to take off, everything was working great. The real estate company was doing great. He was making commissions on the real estate he was selling. And when people needed a mortgage to buy a house, he hooked them up with his mortgage company. And then in order to get a mortgage for a house and to go to closing, they needed title insurance. So he hooked them up with title insurance, right? So now he was making money by selling them the real estate. He was making money through the mortgage, and he was making money through the title insurance. And he would come in, first thing Monday morning, and there'd be a stack of papers on his desk that he had to get through. And by the end of the day, he'd get that stack of papers down about 10%, 20%. He was working, 15, 16, 18, 20 hours a day and couldn't get through that stack of papers, right? So, he was making lots of money, but he had no time. And one day he realized, that this was not good because, talk about trying to create work-life balance. I mean, his life was all work and no life, but his wife had to go to the doctor one day and he had to stay home with his 3 wonderful kids. And he's sitting there the whole time, just looking at his watch and saying, oh my God, I can't believe how much time I'm wasting being here. When is she going to get back already so I can get back to work? And then he heard himself say that. And he's like, oh my God, how messed up is this? Right. And he used a little bit more extreme language than that. But when he started to look at it, he said, no, the whole reason that I'm doing this, the whole reason that I started any of these businesses is really to not just have money, but to have time and money. So when you have time and money, what does that create in your life? It creates what I like to call lifestyle, right? So that lifestyle of time and money. And again, it's not just balance of time and money. You create this lifestyle through a way of having time and money, but also creating harmony between all 10 areas of your life. So when you look at creating that harmony and getting that wheel running smooth, again, it's not about filling in the gaps. It's not, you want to create a smooth wheel, and it's really, just trying to figure out, well, how do you do that? Right? So a lot of people want to set goals. And they say, okay, so I'm going to set some goals to create harmony in this area. And the reality is, goals don't do it. Because if you look at, there's 10 areas of life, right? As we spoke about. And, I challenge any one of you to tell me, well, which of these 10 areas is not important? As we discussed, they're all important, right? So you have to focus on all of them, right? And then we're looking at 10 areas of life that you got to set goals for, right? And 3 time frames, at the very least, is short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. So now you're looking at, oh my God, 10 areas of life times 3 time frames equals 30 goals, right? Well, I'm not even talking about that, because the way that I work with people, we're actually talking about 8 different time frames. So that's 80 goals. I mean, imagine sitting here, thinking about 80 goals in your life, right? What does that bring up, right? Oh, shoot, right? How am I going to do that? So the way to do that, the way to really look at 80 different aspects, filling in this sheet, which, for anyone who wants, I'd be willing to share the sheet with you. And this is really like the second part of the homework. The first part of the homework is really to look at what you want in each of these 10 areas. And then the next part is to look at filling in what you're going to do in each of these 10 areas over all of these time frames. So what I like to look at is not goals, right? Because 80 goals is beyond overwhelm. 30 goals is beyond overwhelm, but 80 goals, forget about it. So again, looking at projects, what is a project? So my definition of a project is that you're looking at multiple areas of your life. So you're looking at, not just your career, but you're looking at your career and how it affects your finances and how you can use that to create a lifestyle where you enjoy your life. So you're looking at that project of your career, and you're looking at it over multiple time frames. So you're looking at maybe starting a business or starting a new aspect of your career or your business, right? And then you're projecting how that will grow your finances. So initially you might need to put money into it, but then you're going to get a return on that investment in yourself. So how is that going to grow over the next 2 to 4 weeks, over the next month, over the next, 3 to 6 months, right? What are you going to be doing in your business over the next 3 to 6 months or a year to make that grow? What are your goals in terms of how that's going to affect your lifestyle? In order to grow that and not burn yourself out, you might want to plan at some point in the next 6 months or 12 months to have one vacation put in there so that you're not just working on that. When my father passed away, I was just 19 years old and I was thrust into a business, and I set a goal for myself, and you got to be careful what you ask for because you might just get it. So I set a goal. I said, most businesses go out of business in the first year or so. And I set a goal, if I could survive for 3 years, then I did it. I succeeded, right? So 3 years went by and I survived. I achieved my goal. I wasn't thriving. I survived. I made enough money to pay all my bills and to stay in business. I didn't go out of business, but it certainly wasn't anything to rave about. And a friend of mine came to me and he says, all work and no play makes Mark a dull boy. So I'm like, well, what do I do? And he says, I got a friend who's got a timeshare in Aruba. You're going on vacation. He wasn't asking me. He was telling me. He's my best friend. So, forgivability index, of course, right? So I went, and it was the best thing that I could have done, right? So I came back, not just, having taken a break, but, I came back inspired, and I came back feeling good, and it's, any one of these areas can affect the other areas. So, my goal was not just for my business and not just for the money, but now I added in, it was not just one area of my life. It was not just 2 areas of my life, but it's 3 projects at any given time that can really create this aspect where you're working in multiple areas over multiple time frames, and they can affect all of the areas. So like I showed you in that example, I was growing my business, I was making money, but then adding in a vacation gave me that sharpening of the saw so that I could grow my business more. I had more energy, I had more effort and enthusiasm, and I was able to, really grow my business and make more money. Because why? Well, I didn't want to just survive. Part of surviving for me now included taking another vacation. So those 3 areas were together, and I took one vacation and I learned how to surf, right? So it included physical exercise. And then I took another vacation where I learned how to surf, and my cousin inspired me to eat healthier. So now I was making money with my business so that I could take a vacation and go someplace where I could do something healthy and improve my health and eat healthy. So I would go to California and surf and be with my cousin and learn how to eat healthier. So this was like one project, but it really involved, multiple time frames, and it involved different areas of my life. So, then you might have a goal to, to move, and like I said earlier, I moved, but moving involved me having a better office space where I could put up my certificates behind me. I could have my bookshelves right behind my desk so I could, study and have personal growth. So it was not just my physical location and set up the way I wanted it to be, but it also inspired me for personal growth, and it affects my business because now I have a nice, quiet, clean environment. I have an office that's dedicated to work, so that one project of moving affected multiple areas. It also affected my family. My daughter got into a better school. We're living closer to where my other daughter is going to college. It was, initially where, right near where my son was working. So that was a consideration, and I have the benefit of working from anywhere I have a computer. So for me, it didn't really matter, but the move helped me to be able to do this in a more effective way. So it wasn't just about a goal for my physical environment. That goal for my physical environment affected my family. It affected my finances initially in a negative way, but now I'm inspired. I'm growing my business. I'm able to do more things. I have a better environment for growing my business, and I'm actually making more money than I've ever made. So, when you live in a place that inspires you to do what you need to do, then you show up as a better version of yourself. So, that one project inspired me to grow and expand who I am. And, working with wonderful business coaches like Christina, now I'm able to, to launch programs like this and get more of the stuff out there because, like myself and like you have talents, you have skills, you have abilities, you have a gift that you owe it to the world to share that gift. So, looking at, your gift, right? Your gift is your business and your life, right? So again, we're going to come full circle. And if you look at your business and your life, it's not about balance. It's about creating harmony. And it starts with a vision, right? So that vision is about why you're doing this. What's your purpose? What's your passion? How are you serving people? Who do you serve, right? And what do you do to serve them? So you want to look at, it's not about a destination. It's about creating a direction that you're heading towards. When they asked Walt Disney what was his vision, right? Before he even started out, he's standing on a blank piece of land in Orange County, California. And they're like, Mr. Disney, what's your vision? And he goes, well, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's way off in the distance and it's kind of sparkly, right? So, is that specific? No, not at all. But if you think about anything Disney, or even the companies or different directions that Disney's gone in, any Disney movie, any Disney story, Disneyland, Disney World, I don't even know if it still exists, Euro Disney, Pixar and all the different companies that Disney owns, DreamWorks, Star Wars, right? The Muppets, all of those kind of fit into that category of way off in the distance and kind of sparkly, right? It all fits, right? So all of this it outlived Disney, right? And yet it was the direction that he created that it inspired people with passion and purpose, that this was why he created all this. So what I suggest is make the journey your destination. Like, if Disney had made the destination, be having all of those things as Disney, well, that didn't happen, a lot of that, until after he passed on. But if you make the journey the destination, then the cool part is you're always there. You're there now and you're always there. So this is what I suggest, is make the journey your destination, because then you're always there, right? So how do you do that? Why do you do that? Well, it takes focus. So one of my mentors, and I love the way he puts this, what is focus? So focus is follow one course until successful, right? So many people, and I read this, poor people have no goals. Mediocre people have too many goals, and rich people have one goal, right? And rich is not just money, as we've spoken about here. Rich is what I would consider having harmony in all these areas of your life. Wealth Again, wealth is nothing without someone to share it with, or multiple someones to share it with, friends, family, and romantic relationship. Wealth is nothing without your health. If you're not going to live to enjoy it, well, then what does all that money do for you? Money can't buy you another day if you're not healthy. So really, what I do as a coach is I help you to create focus and what it is that you're focusing on. So for some people that are in business, it's focusing on different aspects of your business. That guy that I mentioned who had to be home and take care of his kids, he realized that the whole reason he had a business in the first place was to have 3 wonderful kids, to be able to spend time with them and not have to worry about going back to work. So for him, the aspect of his business that we worked on was helping him get rid of the belief that he couldn't delegate anything, and I tell people all the time, hey, you know what? No one's ever going to do it as good as you. And you know what? There's some people who will do it better. And when you learn to delegate, then you start to automate and you get to take a little bit less of effort and you get more energy out of what you're doing and growing. So when you look at the areas of life, they're not individual areas of life. They work together systemically to create this wheel. And it's really about looking at each of the areas and how they interact with the others, right? So again, what is wealth without health? What is a business without creating a system where it grows automatically by bringing in the right people? What is having wonderful hobbies if you have no one to do them with? So a significant other or friends or family, so you look at these different areas of life, they're not in any specific order, I talk about generically health and wealth and love just because that's the way I've been talking about it for years. But, it's not like health is more important than wealth, or wealth is more important than love, or love is more important than health, right? It's not like your career is more important than your romantic relationship, or your family is more important than your physical location, or your friends are more important than your spirituality. No, they're all important and they're not in any specific order. At any given moment in your life, like the music example, hey, there's space for a guitar solo, and then a drum solo, and then there's that spot where there's just the keyboard playing and everybody else takes a break for a minute, right? So, there's no specific order, there's no specific hierarchy. They all work together systemically to create that harmony between the wheel, right? So your priorities shift according to your needs, like I was talking about. Like there are times in your life, hey, if you're out of work, right, and you have that example that I spoke about before with lots of time and no money, well, then you can work on personal growth and you can work on what it takes to up your skill level to make yourself more valuable in the marketplace. And really, again, it comes down to what is it going to take to get all this working together systemically and create that level of harmony for yourself, right? So when you look at all 10 areas of your life and looking at the criteria for each one, my cliche that, anyone who's ever worked with me, has heard me say this multiple times, is that life is choice. So, I love the matrix, the blue pill or the red pill. Am I going the right way or the wrong way? Do I go left or do I go right? Do I go this way or that way? Life is filled with choices. And, like any other thing in life, you make a great choice. So if life is choice, which I believe it is, you make a great choice, then you live a great life, right? So it's really about making the best choices. So when you start to look at these 10 areas of your life, right, it's a matter of focusing on the one that is the one that you need to work on. So how do you predict your future? Well, you predict your future by creating it. by design. And the way you create it by design is to look at these 10 areas of your life and to say, what's important to me about health? What are the top 3 things that are important to me about health? What are the top 3 things that are important to me about my business? What are the top 3 things that are important to me about my romantic relationship? And when you start to look at those, and then you can make a choice to put time and effort and energy and automate some of those so that you can have harmony, or delegate it, or whatever it takes to have as many, if not all of those. And like that example of that grid that I showed before, you're looking at all 10 areas and you're looking at multiple time frames and you're creating projects by design. So it's not just randomly doing whatever comes up, whatever fire you need to put out. You're doing it on purpose, intentionally, and you're creating your life by design. And the program of what I call Designing the Ultimate You is really about, what does it take to define success for you? So, the things that we can manage in life are your time, space, matter, and energy. Those are the 4 aspects of things that we can manipulate with our choices, right? So it's about designing your life by the choices that you make in each of these 10 areas of your life, and they're all important. And where do you start? Well, you start by turning your wheel of life into a circle of excellence. I have programs that help you create a vision of what you want, align that vision with who you are to fulfill that vision, and then start to look at the core values of what's important to you, to understand what your beliefs are, the beliefs that empower you, the beliefs that hold you back, the beliefs that limit you, and the beliefs that expand the possibilities of what you're capable of, what's possible for you. And that defines your attitude, which it determines the actions you take or you don't take. And again, the actions you take or don't take, sometimes they're dependent upon your environment, but really what I tell people is to rise above your environment and take those actions by making the best possible choice, right? So what I have coming up is a program with 10 classes that will help you to work on each of these areas and design each of that area of your life to make it ideal and optimize what's important to you about health, optimize what's important to you about your career, optimize what's important to you about money, and give you tips and tricks and suggestions of what you can do in those areas, and start to fill in that grid and look at how you can create projects as you build upon each of those areas. So we're going to look at 10 classes that work on each of those areas, but then ultimately with the aspect in mind of how you can create harmony between each of those areas. So what I'm offering you today is to sign up for this program. And if you want my help in designing your life to have harmony in all 10 areas of your life, to create it in such a way that, you get that wheel of life spinning smoothly. And that's really what creates a circle of excellence, so that you're living at your life at that level of excellence where, it's not just about having health. It's not just about having wealth. It's not just about having love in your life. It's about having all of that and more. So, you can have health, and you can have wealth, and you can have love, and you can have peace, and you can have joy, and you can have happiness and harmony and prosperity in your life. You can have it all, and you can live the most excellent life by being the most excellent version of yourself. So I don't have the slides made up for this yet, but what I'm offering you, if you sign up for this 10-week program, is to design each of these areas of your life with the aspect of harmony. And I'm going to offer you some bonuses to do that. So one bonus is that normal price for this is $360. If you sign up within the next 3 days, the price is reduced to $270 for all 10 classes. I'm going to throw in a bonus class, and I'm going to throw in a bonus session where you get a one-on-one with me to help you to design how your wheel is going to work and to help you to start filling in that grid and to go over your homework so that you get it done in a way that will create the ultimate life for you. And I'm also going to give you another bonus on top of that of an audio program that you can listen to that's a semi-hypnotic audio that talks about how to create health and wealth and love, and to look at all those aspects and to reiterate in your mind the 10 areas of your life. So take a moment and just, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment and just think about if you were to have all these areas of your life in harmony, right? Imagine you're at your ideal satisfaction with what you're doing for your health. You might not be at your ideal weight, but you're doing what it takes to get there. So you're satisfied with your health. You're satisfied with what you're doing to build your business and grow your business and your career, and you're profitable and you've got money coming in, and you're saving 10% or more of your money, and you're investing that in things that are earning you even more money on your investment. And you're balancing out, the area of your life. Imagine you have wonderful friendships. You're doing fun things with your friends. You're going on vacations. You're spending time. You've got great hobbies. You're taking classes and you're growing and you're learning how to be the best version of yourself. You have a connection to spirituality, your higher power, your God. You have a wonderful romantic relationship with great physical relationship, chemistry. You have companionship. You're spending time together. You're enthused to be with each other. Just imagine this, what it's like, and just feel it in your body, what it feels like to have this future that you're creating for yourself, and how you grow and learn and appreciate all these aspects of your life working together. The wheel is rolling smoothly, which helps you to expand all the wheels, all the aspects of this wheel of your life. So now just imagine what that's like and what that's worth for you to have that. And if you'd like my assistance in creating that for yourself, that's what this is all about. For you to have that wheel of life working together in harmony to create a circle of excellence, the ideal state of mind. I don't know what that is for you. It might be a level of confidence. It might be a level of certainty. It might be a level of focus, like we were talking about earlier. It might be peace and harmony, and it might be relaxation. It might be driven. It might be motivated. It might be enthusiastic. It might be energized, and, all of the above, to create that ideal state of mind. And that energy that you have shows up in everything that you do. It becomes who you are. And again, it's not just about designing your life and having a vision for your life and a circle of excellence. It's about who you are to create this. I'm Mark Siegel. I'm your personal mind trainer, and I'd love to have you sign up, and I'd love to help you to create the ideal in all aspects of your wheel of life and have a circle of excellence where you're succeeding and you have health and you have wealth and you have love and you have harmony and prosperity in all aspects of who you are and how you're living your life. I thank you again for being here. I appreciate your time, your most valuable asset that you've invested, and hopefully you're willing to take it to the next level and invest even more in yourself to create your life in the most amazing way, to have that circle of excellence.